Yeah, look, I think he has a very thick skin, but it is not, I would say, the thickest of skins. Because if it were, then he would be, addressing a lot of press conferences, and he hasn't. But I think that's a very conscious choice he has made. Maybe he was so aggrieved by the propaganda that the media, had against him for a decade before he became the prime minister. That is, one person comes to mind is Amitabh Bachchan. There was one falsehood that was written about him. I think he said this in Filmfare. And for the next 15, 20 years, he did not give a single interview. But of course, he's not a politician. He's not in public life. So, he can do that. Politicians really cannot escape the public scrutiny or public glare now comes intertwined with public scrutiny. So in that sense, he has a thick skin, but he's not the thickest of skin. On the other hand, be that as it may, be that as it what it is, which is his conscious decision to not to pick and choose the people he gives interviews to, and to never give a press conference. Other than that, I think we shouldn't look too much into all the maligning or the hate that people have against Narendra Modi. He's a politician, and I think at one level he also understands that. And to be honest, I think Amit Shah also gets, if not the same, at the same level, maybe a little bit lower. Yogi, I think Yogi gets more than Amit Shah. So there is a kind of a hierarchy. And you can almost look at the hierarchy and almost predict who's going to be the next prime minister. But, the fact of the matter is he's a politician. It's not that he hasn't given it back. I mean, he has also given it back in equal measure. He's called Sonia Gandhi the Jersey cow. He's addressed Shashi Tharoor, as someone having a 50. So in politics, it goes. Hate comes with the territory, and I'm not that much concerned. And for example, if somebody hates me, does Modi come to my rescue? No. So he doesn't even know me, so he doesn't care. But the tragedy that has happened is in this mania, Modi hatred mania. It has somehow, over the last 6 years, it's transmogrified into hatred for Hinduism, which still I would say it's I don't like it, but it's still all right because you're hating a religion, you're hating an idea. Let's say, people hate Islam, people hate Christianity, still all right. But now what has happened in the last 2 or 3 years is that also has transmogrified into hatred for India, and that is really dangerous because the people, now we know clearly, when you started hating Modi, that was fine, but then you started hating everything that he ever did for this country. Now that can't be right. In the last 6 years, there have been at least 1,000 things, maybe more, that this government has done. So let's say half of them were horrendous. You wrote about them, that's fine. But at least the other half, 500, would have been good steps, decent steps. How is it possible that you are running a media house or a TV channel, or let's say a digital media house, and out of all the things that this government has done, you can't find a single thing that he must have done right? That itself tells you that you're running an agenda. To give you one example, this making of toilets, Shauchalay, you had the scheme, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Now the opposition to that was, believe it or not, that they're saying this is wrong because by building toilets, you are preventing the village women to have that bonding time that they used to have when they went to the fields in the morning. Now, can you imagine somebody would have thought, let us think of, some angle to oppose this. Making of a toilet is actually going to reduce the mortality. It is going to take care of all the diseases. It is good. It is health conscious. It is a great step. But, God damn, because Modi has done this, let us find something that is wrong. So can you imagine the editorial staff would have stood, sat around a table and tried to find out what angle. And this is the angle that they found, that Swachh Bharat is bad because it is preventing or taking away the bonding time of two females. So when you see things like that, and this is just one example, there are so many examples like that. And then you realize that, look, there's no point, because these guys are beyond redemption. They've completely lost it. So to come back to the question that you asked, I don't really mind people hating Modi. I think he has a thick skin. But When that thing transmogrifies into hatred for India, that is when you realize that, look, this has gone beyond. Something has to be done. No, well, I mean that has been, this is almost an axiom in the age that we are living in. Anything that you loved, because Modi has now done it, you start hating. And the farm bills were a glowing example of that. When all those so-called intellectuals and economists and politicians, they were all for these reforms. In fact, they were for even stronger and more stringent reforms than what Modi has done right now. Modi has given a choice that you will still have your Bicholias or Aratyas, you will still have your APMCs, but I'm giving you a choice. Those guys wanted to do away with the choice, and now they have taken a U-turn now. So, but see, I'll tell you what the tragedy is, that once you realize this propaganda is going on, there are two options. One is that you expose it and then you sit back. The other is, and that is what I worry for this country, that leads to depression, and that leads to a loss, not only to the exchequer, but to the psyche of the common Indian. For example, now this expose that, all the U-turns and hypocrisy on farm bill was exposed almost 1.5 months ago. Now, in any sensible country running a sensible government, once this is exposed, you would not have allowed the farmers, so-called farmers who are blocking roads, the country to ransom. We're withstanding 3,500 crore losses every day. Now, why are we doing this? Who is going to pay for this? The farmers won't pay for this. Is the government going to pay for this? Ultimately, the government is going to pay for this. And how is the government earning money? Through us. So at one point, once you expose the hypocrisy, you feel good, but only for 5-10 minutes. After that, you start feeling depressed, because ultimately all this loss, the inaction of the government is going to bite you, and you can't do anything about it. For example, it is my money which runs this government, on which the government takes decisions. And ultimately that 3,500 crores multiplied by 40, 50 days is going to be taken out of our pockets, and we are helpless. So it can lead to depression, and that is what scares me. And what Narasimha Rao said once is a very famous, or shall I say infamous quip. What he said was terribly depressing, but it's an iconic quote. What he said was, to not take a decision is to also take a decision. Now, it is so ridiculously cynical, but it is true. I mean, he did this so many times. But it is depressing, because when you don't take a decision and you think that is also taking a decision, let the farmers be there for 6 months, let the roads be blocked to a national capital. Let all the factories that are, on the road, on the periphery of those highways, they suffer. Let no goods be, exchanged from one state to the other. Who is suffering? We are suffering. So it's all right to expose the hypocrisy, but if the government remains, impotent to the threat, I would call it a threat. It is a severe economic threat. It's not yet become a social threat. It might, because there are people itching to instigate riots. But as far as economic threat is concerned, this should have been handled 50 days ago. Yeah.